What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another 7 Nights video. And today we're going to be talking about block set. So block set drops from Ox King and is known as Gatekeeper set. And the reason why a lot of people just spam Ox King for the most part is going to be because Gatekeeper is one of the sets that drops. Now of course you also have Assassin set, which is very good for DPSs, which I talk about in my DPS set video. But today we're not even talking about other support sets, we're just going to be talking about block set because this is super OP and it is one of the best, if not the best sets in the game in my opinion, because you can put it on every single support and it will never be bad. So the way to understand why block set is so good, the easiest way to do it is actually by looking at what block rate does. So block rate is going to make it so that when a block happens, you will take 50% less damage. Also on top of that, if you get crit, you nullify the crit from happening at all. So this is extremely OP, not just in PvE, but also PvP, because if you go against like TOs on a build that has, you know, full crit damage because they're T6 and they have like the 100% crit rate, well, all that crit damage does nothing. So the TO that you fight against does literally like 1k damage or 2k damage, which is pretty much nothing for TO, right? So this makes it so that block set is just going to be extremely good. You can even see something like a Rachel, which I actually use in Dragon and some PvE content and Castle Raid, or Castle Rush, sorry. She is going to be on a block build, and that's because block is just that OP. Now, you do want to get to 100% if you can, because there is some RNG in terms of blocking. So the way you can do this is by running a team comp with like Evan, and this is like the easiest way. You just run 2 block rate armors, and then if I can find my Evan here, Evan's shield ability will give you block rate, so it's very easy to hit the cap. Otherwise, you can get it from substats, which is very good. There's also going to be rings that will have block rate, especially when you start farming. For 6-star rings, you get a 10% block rate ring, which helps immensely. And you just want to aim for as high block rate as possible because, you know, the block set does give you extra block rate on top of it, but it also gives you extra block damage reduction, which is extremely powerful. So for the majority of content for PvE especially, even in like raids, you're going to see that you're running block here on a ton of characters. There's going to be some exceptions though, such as Lena, because this character's healing does scale with her max HP. So if you can build her tanky enough, you can actually run her on like a full HP setup, and she ends up surviving while also healing a lot. But you can also run her on block rate as well, and it's still going to be very, very good. So if you look at like my other supports, for example, right? Charon, for example, he's an attack scaling healer. Even though you're going to run attack percent on him, you still want some block rate to make him survive. So you can see mine's on block rate as well. Only 38%, so not the best, but it does help with surviving a bit. You can see something like a Victoria, who's there in Hydra mostly for her immunity to paralysis, also on block rate. Even something like Karin, which people don't really use as much, but I find a lot of success on her. You can see she's also on a block build. Even though I have 1 defense percent, which isn't optimal, I should switch it to block rates. So you can kind of see why block rate is really, really good. You can even use it on just like effect hit users, right? Because if you don't need that extra effect hit rate, you can just run them on block for PvP. You can also run them on stuff like Velika. I know my Velika is missing a weapon, but for Tower, since we're only using her for her skill cooldown reduction, I just have her on a full block setup to be as tanky as possible. So just cycle my team's skills. So you can kind of see that block set works on anything that you don't need to do a lot of damage, and it's going to be very, very good. So block set is super powerful. How many do you actually need? Well, actually, there's no real answer to that. You can farm as much as you want, and pretty much any block gear that you get with block rate percent on the armors, you want to just make sure that you upgrade them. You can never really have too many, especially in the early mid game. Even if the substats aren't perfect, you can see this one is absolutely awful. I'm still using it on my Velika to this day because, you know, you just need to equip so many supports in this game. There's so many supports you need to build, right? So because of that, you know, every single block rate gear on block set, you're going to want to, especially if you're newer to the game and in the mid game, early game section, you want to upgrade a lot of them because this is going to make your team immensely tankier, and it's something that you really, really want to abuse. Now, in terms of PvP, it's pretty much the same thing. You can run block set on a lot of characters, although certain, you know, team styles won't really want it. For example, my team runs Phi, Tio, Kagura, as like my 3 DPS core with also Jury as well. And then my last slot is Eileen. You're gonna notice that none of these are on block set. And because of that, you know, you're not gonna always find usage for it in PvP, but you know, you could always make it work. In fact, I could put my Eileen on block set and it'd be fine. I could put my Jury, even though it's unorthodox and not meta, on block set and it's fine. If I put her on like this ring, which has like a status effect, with block rate gear, she'll stay alive for a long time, and she can apply this status effect on every single follow-up from her passive, or even her 2 target basic attack. So basically, block rate is going to be a set of gear that you really want a lot of. So that's like a big reason why people focus on Ox King, because if you think about it, you're getting the best support tanky set in the game in Gatekeeper block set, and you're also getting the best, or one of the best, tied with like Avenger, and I guess like even Bounty Tracker for PvP, PvE set in the game. So you're getting a good damage set for PvE characters, and also a tanky set for PvE characters. Actually, they're also good in PvP, so it makes Ox King just a really, really good boss to farm. And if you guys are struggling with Ox King, I do have a lot of videos on my channel, specifically for like level 10 and also like level 11 to 15 that you can check out. But definitely a raid you want to get into if you want to start progressing your account. And I think like the biggest thing is people find that their team is too squishy. Just run them on block. You can even see my Rin is on like a block setup. So you can literally run Vanessa on her, not Vanessa on her, Vanessa on it as well. So you can see any CC support you can run on it, pretty much any healer tank you can run on it. And DPSs, you're not going to really want to run it on block set, but you get assassin set from Ox King, so you might as well run assassin set. So yeah. Pretty much it for this video though, guys. Just wanted to talk about this set that you definitely want to be abusing. I don't really see a lot of newer players realizing that quickly that this is so strong, but by God, this is like insanely powerful. Block is like extremely broken in this game, and you know, it really surprises me that it's at 50%. Even if this was at like 30%, I consider it to be pretty OP, but 50%, that is absolutely crazy. So at this point, you're probably thinking, oh, is there no answer to block rate then? What can you actually do? Well, there actually is, and the biggest weakness to block set is weakness hit chance. So this is pretty much like another critical hit, but you'll see that block rate only stops critical hit rates, or critical hit effects, not weakness hit effects. So because of this, you're going to see a lot of TOs built on weakness hit chance, especially if they're T6. And this will go through block rate. So this is like the biggest counter. That's why eventually when you get a lot of characters to something like T4, where they end up getting crit rate, I guess TO doesn't, but if I look at another one, let's look at like Ballista, for example, where they get like crit rate at T4, you're going to see for PvP, a lot of DPSs will actually switch to weakness hit chance. So if you find yourself abusing block gear, but also finding that you're getting countered by it very heavily, you probably want to use weakness hit chance because it'll be the best option to bypass it. But yeah, pretty much it for this video though, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.